Hey now, ladies. Oh, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. Hour number 3 of the line, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Andrew Mclain, who.com. Andrew Mclain and Jonathan Bird here with you.
Hey, everybody.
And we are here to announce that in a rare instance, in a rare moment in time, CNN got it right. Pam Bondi has been fired
She's out of here.
as Attorney General, and she will be replaced temporarily by the Assistant Attorney General, Todd Blanche, which is a longtime Trump confidant that will play the role. He knows it well. He's been there, for the entirety of the Trump term. And that's for everybody that had beef with Pam Bondi. As far as Attorney General, she gone. She gone. He apparently informed her. It was interesting because I got to think that he had conversations with her when they rode together in the Beast to the Supreme Court yesterday and then back to the White House. He apparently just informed her, like, I'm for sure doing this before his speech last night. And now it has become public, and there she goes. But she is likely not going to be booted out of the administration. And this is what I find interesting about Trump 2.0 is that when he pulls somebody out of a position, fires them or whatever you want to call it, he moves them to another spot. He doesn't, like in Trump's first term, he would have just booted you out and you would have gone back home, and that would have been the end of the story. That was it. You're fired. You suck. You're gone. But he's not doing that. You saw it with Kristi Noem. He pulled her out of DHS and put her somewhere else. Pam Bondi, where she's going to land, I have no idea. But it's not going to be as important of a role as Attorney General. I mean, he may just make up some sort of new department for her. Isn't that kind of what he did with Kristi Noem? He put her in charge of the Shield of the Americas or something. We're like, what is that? Sounds like some sort of superhero gimmick. But she's out. There you go. Everybody that wanted Bondi out of there, you got your wish. And it was ironic because we were talking about it just this morning. And the New York Times and CNN both were saying that Trump was mulling the idea of firing Pam Bondi, and they made his decision. Made it last night. So Todd Blanche, according to that New York Post or New York Times and CNN article, they seem to think that Lee Zeldin is a top candidate for that position. But who knows? Who knows what will happen? What we do know is that Trump is going to go around and ask the advice of a lot of people as to what they think. So y'all be on the lookout for that. It's kind of exciting. That's exciting. Exciting breaking news. Are you sad about that, John Bird? Are you sad that Pam Bondi's gone?
Well, no. I mean, she didn't. Trump's been known to fire people if they're not doing their job, and he's got a vision of what the job should be.
Yeah.
And if she's not living up to that vision, but the thing about releasing the Epstein files, how many millions of files are there?
There's millions and millions.
Yeah, and what is it, 3 million they've released so far?
Yeah, just in the last batch was 3 million.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't think you can just say, here they all are.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can't go through all those. You need to get, well, I hate to say it, but getting AI involved would be a
but even AI, it's so important to cover up sources and methods and victims and everything else that you can't just, even if you do AI, you still got to have somebody to go back through it and make sure that AI got it all.
Yeah, but
'Cause
that's
AI
better than
doesn't.
having to go through manually.
You almost you
Get
almost
that
have
list.
to. Like I don't think you have a choice because of the stakes involved. And mistakes have been made in the process. Victims have been named unintentionally, but it's and who knows? Maybe that was the driving factor. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But Pam Bondi had made several missteps all along the way as Attorney General. But hey, was fun while it lasted, right? Got a comment on TikTok wanting a shout out to D. Melton at Central Waterworks. That's
Shout out, D.
D. Melton at Central Waterworks. Hey now, hey now, hey now. Let's get free shout outs whenever we want. By the way, Jawbone Jam, a little birdie told me earlier that we could possibly have some extra tickets to give away for Jawbone when we get closer to it. I say that in a sense of you need to go buy your tickets because you don't want to just rely on winning them. But if the tickets run out, we may have a handful to give away on each of the shows. So we'll keep you posted on that. May 15th is when it is. It's at Iron City. It's our 10-year anniversary.
10 big years.
Jawbone Jam brought to you by the Knowles Group. You're going to hear the incredible music of Brother Kane. You're going to hear Stone Horses and Cattle. Come hang out with us. Hear some great music. Special thanks, by the way, to Aqua Systems and Blakely's Bouquet for helping us to celebrate 10 years of broadcast excellence on Talk 99.5. Is that what we have here? Do we have broadcast excellence?
I think so, personally speaking.
Is that what we do?
You don't think that?
I mean, that's what Rush Limbaugh did. I don't know that we can compare ourselves to Rush, though.
Well, but I mean, things have come a long way, and things change and get better and better because people were willing to pave the way for it.
Yeah, they did. Could you imagine? I've often said this. Could you imagine if Rush was still alive today? He had that midday show. We would have been in direct competition with Rush Limbaugh.
We'd have been in big trouble is what we would have been.
Yeah, me and you would have both been fired. We'd have never been able to hang with Rush Limbaugh. We'd have never survived.
No, not with the king.
All right, 205-545-9950 if you want to get in. Deep South Construction Pros. Let me tell you about them real quick. Love these guys. Best of the best of the best, just like everybody else I tell you about. These guys are right here in Alabama, locally owned, locally rooted. Everything they do is Alabama-based, and that means the money that you spend with them, the money that they spend, it all stays right here in Alabama, helping local folks, local community, and that's what I love about them, man. Foundation issues, water in your basement, water in your crawl space, that's the stuff they handle. You know about crawl space encapsulation and basement waterproofing. Moldy, musty smell. You smell it, you see it. You got to get that taken care of because it ultimately turns into foundation issues. And once foundation issues start, then you got a big problem on your hands, such as doors and windows not opening and shutting like they used to, a separation between your floor and your wall. Take a look down there. While you're at home, just kind of look around, see if you notice these things. Cracks in the drywall, ceilings that are sagging. Those are all signs of foundation problems. These are the guys to get you hooked up, man. Deep South Construction Pros. Nobody better. The number for them, 256-305-1854. That's 256-305-1854 and online, deepsouthconstructionpros.com. Let me get Warren in Hoover. Warren, what's up, bud?
Yeah, hi. I know President Trump said we're going to hit Iran hard the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, that guy's not Warren. That's that tool bag that calls in and never gives his real name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can tell because he talks like this. He's like, hey, my name's Warren. I'm from Hoover. I promise I don't like to touch little kids. Get out of here, dude.
We got you, Warren the liar.
We're not wasting our time on you, you loser. Get a job, bro. All right, 205-545-9950. Quick break. A lot of the line coming up right after this. So I got 2 restrictions on my TikTok live now. By the way, I'm on TikTok if anybody wants to see it at Andrew Mclain who. My second restriction was for bullying. He said I do not meet the community standard practices. And so they're not putting me in the suggestions or putting me where I can be searched. So good luck finding me because apparently I'm doing some bullying. 205-545-9950, 545-9950. Where did we leave off? Oh, we were talking about the DOJ seeking to hold Brian Cole's lawyer in contempt for publicly posting the pipe bomb allegations. Now, the way that this came about, it was yesterday. Brian Cole's lawyers filed a motion for early return of subpoenas and publicly disclosed in that information about the DOJ's review of Shawnee Kirkhoff's alleged role in January 6th. Now, Shawnee Kirkhoff is the Capitol police officer that now works for the CIA, but was a Capitol police officer during January 6th. Because of that, they ended up putting it on a public docket. So it was publicly available. It had the allegations. One, that former U.S. Capitol Police officer Sean Kirkhoff was the true pipe bomber alongside her home address. And now the DOJ is like, oh, that's a big no-no. You're putting her in danger. You shouldn't have done that. So now we're going to hold you in contempt. That's DOJ lawyers. Of course, that was Pam Bondi's DOJ lawyers. Who knows what's going to happen now. But what we did find out in that information that we weren't supposed to see was that U.S. Capitol officer that the Blaze reported was responsible for the pipe bomb, but is now a CIA employee, failed the polygraph test that was given to her by the FBI regarding the January 6th pipe bombs. And this is interesting because this is likely why the Blaze reported that in the first place, because they were getting indicators that this was proof that she was either the pipe bomber herself or she was involved in some capacity. But it raises questions as to, was she involved? Does this need to be revisited? Or are we just going to hang our hat on the fact that autistic Brian Cole is the one that did this all by himself and was able to avoid law enforcement for this number of years? In December of last year, the FBI identified the alleged pipe bomber and conducted a search of his home, Brian Cole Jr., 30 of Virginia, after a fresh review of old evidence from the Biden administration. The FBI claimed they found evidence during the search that suggested Cole Jr. was the person responsible for placing the inert devices at the RNC and DNC headquarters on the evening of January 5th. Following his arrest, Cole, who is said to be autistic, sought bail in January of 26, but was denied by the judge after Cole admitted to planting the bombs after hours of intense interrogation. Now, hours of intense interrogation with an autistic person seems to be something that, in my opinion, a lawyer shouldn't allow. I would just say that first off. Because when you've got hours and hours of professional trained police tactics going after an individual who says that they didn't do it, but then hours in finally says, you know what, fine, I did it. It's kind of like, we've seen that story before. Everybody remembers the Making a Murderer series. Everybody remembers that? Like, it's kind of that same thing. However, he has pleaded not guilty to the 2 charges related to planting the explosive devices after that. In November of 25, a former Capitol police officer who now works for the CIA was identified as the alleged pipe bomber by the Blaze's Steve Baker. However, according to CBS News, the former Capitol police officer had an alibi, which was a video of her at home playing with her puppies that night. In a new filing from Cole's attorneys, a new detail has emerged that wasn't previously reported. In a motion filed it was learned that, quote, according to discovery produced by the government in this case, the FBI began investigating, questioning, and covertly surveilling Kirkhoff, the Capitol police officer, during the time it began investigating Mr. Cole. So simultaneously, they were investigating both people. On November 6th of 2025, Kirkhoff was interviewed by the FBI and took a polygraph examination. She was asked two relevant questions. One was, did you place those pipe bombs? And the other one was, did you place those pipe bombs that evening? Ms. Kirkhoff failed the polygraph. The FBI polygraph examiner noted Kirkhoff's very controlled reaction to the news of her failing the polygraph and seemingly rehearsed responses to the examiner's questions. Okay. On November 7th, 2025, the filing reports that the FBI opened a file on Kirkhoff and issued subpoenas and preservation requests for electronic accounts. Then on November 12th, the same day the investigation into Mr. Cole was open, the FBI attempted to question Ms. Kirkhoff and Mr. Dickert at her residence. The following day, they interviewed Kirkhoff's dog walker. I don't know who Mr. Dickert is unless that's her boyfriend that lives with her or something. Then the next day, following the dog walker interview, Kirkhoff and Dickert were interviewed together by the FBI and an assistant U.S. attorney. According to people inside the FBI, interviewing those two together is definitely a bit unusual. This is a quote from a former FBI official. It's definitely a bit unusual to interview them together, noting that they never conducted a joint interview, especially with an assistant U.S. attorney present. The filing states Kirkhoff was surveilled the entire month of November of 2025 without her knowledge, and that a request had been sent to the CIA for her employment records. They also sent surveillance footage of her walking to a podiatrist, likely for gait analysis. I guess that would mean to see how she carries herself or how she walks. Cole's attorneys are now requesting subpoenas for the following information, according to a file motion, and I won't read all of that, but it's all related to Miss Kirkhoff, her work schedule, her electronic devices, the information they found within the investigation when they were surveilling her. So, who knows? I just feel like with the way it was, hey, it's this Brian Cole kid who's autistic, 30-year-old autistic guy. He didn't admit to it at first, but when we interviewed him for hours, he finally admitted to it. Now he's pleading not guilty to it. But this Miss Kirkhoff, on the other hand, that we thought it was, failed the polygraph, seems a little suspicious. What if Pam Bondi's husband has even bigger tits?
No, let's not go there.
I'm just saying.
Is it? Do you know something? Do you have some information?
No, I'm just saying. What if something comes out and Pam Bondi's husband's into bimbofication as well,
And what if?
and there's just
What
this,
if she and Chrissy Noem's husband were having an affair? They both were.
and there's this scrouge of husbands that are just dressing up with big fake boobs and
Yep.
prancing around on the internet.
Yeah. My only hope would be that it would be both sides of the party so we could work together on something.
And ban cross-dressing
Yes.
because it's getting a little weird. It's just getting a little weird. By the way, Trump putting out this: Pam Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general over the past year. Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown in crime across our country, with murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector to be announced at a date in the near future. And our Deputy Attorney General, and a very talented and respected legal mind, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting Attorney General. Thank you for your attention to this matter. In the private sector, that's interesting. Wonder what that would be. What position could Trump be appointing Pam Bondi to that is in the private sector?
I don't know. I don't know.
No. Hey, Jumper, don't go out there. Is your door closed? Don't go out there. Don't go.
Yeah, the door's closed.
Okay, don't go out there. I was just
I
saying.
could just go out there and lean my head out the door and go really loud. Maybe they'd get it.
I wonder if they do that in all sides of the hall. Like, do they do it down that way? Do they do it over it? Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, if you do it down at the other end of the hall with jocks with the sports station, their doors are always open. You can't do it down there. Maybe that's the key. Maybe the key is to start leaving my door open.
I don't think so, because we yell and scream a lot.
That's a good point. But I will say, the morning show does it.
Yeah, but there are not a lot of. Now, remember, there's not a lot of people here.
Well, for the first half of the show.
Yeah, for the first half of the show.
I don't know. I'd be too embarrassed. I'd be too self-conscious to leave the door open. I don't
Really?
Think I don't think I could do it. Just because I don't want people hearing the crazy stuff going on in here. It's just too weird.
What is that supposed to mean? You saying I'm weird? Oh my gosh!
No, I mean,
you're saying I'm weird.
Well, you are, but not like in a bad way.
What the?
I'm saying you're just strange.
I think you mean unique.
Unique is the word I was looking for. That's right.
Oh my
You are extremely unique.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, my restriction on TikTok is now gone from the bullying thing that I did with that caller. So I'm back up.
Yeah, baby.
I do want to see how many people I can get on this TikTok live. If you're on TikTok, if you have TikTok on your phone, look up Andrew Mclain Who and pull up our live. See if you can pull up our live real quick. And we'll see. Let's see how high I can get that number. Because I'm trying to get people on board. Make sure you follow too. Follow me on the TikTok. I'm kind of anti-TikTok, but I'm trying to also build it up at the same time. All right, so Bondi, that's going to kind of dominate the headlines for the rest of the day. You then have the funding situation going on with DHS. Remember how we started the week, how we ended the week. So the Senate puts through a bill, and y'all already know this by now. The Senate puts through a bill, and says, all right, we finally got funding. We came to an agreement. It's sent to the House. We, the Senate, we're going on vacation. John Thune, Lindsey Graham, Bernie Sanders, all of them. They hit the tarmac in no time. They were all at the airport. They were all leaving, enjoying their spring break. Lindsey Graham's doing gay stuff in Disney World, walking around with a wand. And it's just a whole thing, right? Then it gets to the House, and Mike Johnson's like, what is this ish? He's like, it doesn't even fund ICE. It doesn't fund Border Patrol. Like, it only funds one thing. Why would you think we're going to pass this? I would suggest the Senate get their ass back up to Capitol Hill and help us fund these critical agencies. Well, the Senate was already gone. And so since then, Mike Johnson and the president has been in touch with John Thune and told them, hey, you've got to figure out something. And apparently they have announced a plan to fund DHS and separately fund ICE and Border Patrol through reconciliation, which is something that's been brought up as of late when it comes to the SAVE Act and everything else. So they announced yesterday they're going to fully fund the Department of Homeland Security, including ICE and CBP, for the next 3 years. They said it's going to be on two parallel tracks using the appropriations and reconciliation processes, noting that the package will ensure border security and immigration enforcement will be funded for the balance of the Trump administration and insulated from future attempts by the Democrats to defund those agencies. And this comes after Trump said in a statement that he's, quote, working in conjunction with House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Leader John Thune to fund ICE and Border Patrol through a process that doesn't need the radical left Democrat votes and bypasses the Senate filibuster, which is, as you know, reconciliation. That's all about funding. This is obviously a funding deal. So keep in mind, as these agencies are now going to be funded, the Democrats did nothing to help that happen. The Democrats who claim to care about people were looking to not pay thousands and thousands of American government workers while they went on vacation. Just that's a fact. You're not going to be able to get around that. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, if you hate Trump, if you're a liberal, you're a Democrat, you can't get away from the fact that Democrats were against paying government workers. They were against it. They weren't against how they were paying them or how much they were paying them or when they were paying them. They were against paying them in general. You don't see the Republican Party doing that. You don't see them stripping funding from agencies because they don't want these individuals to get paid or they don't want these individuals to be able to do their job. But this still leaves the question that we originally had when this problem first started last week, which is, what's the deal with John Thune? Tim Burchett, my favorite congressman, as you know, out of the great state of Tennessee, East Tennessee, he said it perfectly last week when this all came up as to what needs to happen in the Senate with the leadership, in particular with John Thune. Listen to this.
I think he made a huge mistake, ma'am. 83% of the population supports President Trump at Save America Act, which they should. He ignores that. He and you as a member of the media ought to be disgusted at the fact they passed that thing at 2:25 in the morning and left all the other senators kind of hanging. All he had to do is have 5 of his cronies on the floor. He cuts a deal with Schumer. Obviously, the leadership in the Senate, and that's on both sides of the aisle, has a real disgust for this president and House leadership because they didn't even have the guts to call Speaker Mike Johnson and let him know what happened. The whole deal of, you know, the stereotype of Congress is, and it's well deserved, is that we pass stuff in the dark of night because we don't have any guts, and that's clearly what's shown in the Senate leadership. I think they need to get some new leadership over there, in my opinion.
Amen to that. They need to get new leadership in the Senate. I know Donald Trump's like, John Thune, he's a good guy, this, that, and the other, and Maybe it's because he needs him to work with him on these situations, but John Thune sucks, bro. He sucks. And most of us were highly disappointed when he was appointed Senate Majority Leader. Like, I'm sick. I mean, we went from Mitch McConnell to this. Come on. Why can't we just get one good guy? And props to Mike Johnson, who has not been the best, but when the rubber meets the road, Mike Johnson has, in fact, stepped up, which is what happened on Friday. I was actually very proud of him on Friday. Why can't we get decent leadership in the Republican Party? It's like they go out of their way to give us the worst possible options, the worst possible leadership in the most important role. We need somebody that's going to get out there and fight, man. And we ain't had that for a very long time. Conservatives, I don't know conservatives ever have had that. You could make the argument of, who? Newt Gingrich, maybe at one time. He's all right. But there's never been a fighter. And that needs to change. We don't have much time to change it. 205-545-9950. Ernest Financial bringing you this part of the show. RetireWithErnest.com. RetireWithErnest.com. My buddy David Ernest looking out for you when it comes to your retirement, your 401k, your 403b, your IRA, rollover, tax-free, tax-deferred, whatever it may be. They got you. If you're 55 or older and you've got over 50K in your retirement, what you need to do is reach out to these guys. Remember, they've been doing this 45 years plus. Reach out to these guys. Let them know that you want a plan. You want something that's going to help you not lose money, but make your money grow as well and have your plan set up and ready to go by the time you hit retirement. That's exactly what they do. Being in the game as long as they have, they've seen the markets at their best. They've seen the markets at their worst. They know how to navigate this. They know the loopholes, the programs, everything else, exactly where to put you. And the beauty of it doesn't cost you anything. They don't get feeds from you. They get them elsewhere. So you ain't got to worry about nothing except making the call. 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-7233. Online, retirewithernest.com. Okay. So I am seeing that, and this is new, this is just coming across the wire, that Pam Bondi was fired in part as we try to kind of piece together why Pam Bondi was fired. And it could be, it's likely a bunch of reasons. So Donald Trump's usually not in the business of firing you over one mess up. But Pam Bondi was fired in part, according to this new report, because Trump believed she had tipped off Eric Swalwell. This is according to the Daily Mail, which is also the outlet that just reported about Kristi Noem's husband's ginormous boobs and $25,000 to online performers. Trump reportedly believes that Pam Bondi had tipped off Eric Swalwell about the FBI's effort to share investigative documents about his relationship with Fang Fang, the Chinese spy. The Daily Mail says, quote, the FBI was preparing a cache of documents on Swalwell's relationship with Christine Fang. She's intervening in those matters. The White House wasn't pleased she was intervening due to her personal friendship with Swalwell. Wait, Pam Bondi's friends with Eric Swalwell? That's a problem in itself, first of all. If that's the case, see ya, cuz. Yeah, we got no need for you. That's interesting. Again, that's coming from the Daily Mail. It reminds me of it reminds me of this clip. I think it's from last year with Victor Davis Hanson. He was doing an interview and he actually revealed that he was approached by Fang Fang at one point and didn't fall for it like that idiot Eric Swalwell. Apparently, Fang Fang showed up at his office at the Hoover Institute and I guess maybe tried to swoon him. Victor Davis Hanson, by the way, who's kind of an old man, but, you know, if you're a Chinese spy, you're just trying to get a hold of very important people. Here's what he said during that interview.
Eric Swalwell, well, as I said, I wrote some critical things of China, and Fang Fang came to see me as a consular official out of the Bay Area, and I think she told me she was a political operative that monitored American politics, but when she walked in my office at the Hoover Institution, I kept the door open. I had one of my research people with me the whole time, and the way she changed accents and how she was dressed, you would have to be a stupid, narcissistic idiot to fall for that. I'm serious. In my case, it was, maybe he would say it's easier because I'm an old man, but my point was, it was about 10 or 12 years ago, and he fell for that. And he got involved with her when he was on the House Intelligence Committee. So, end of story with that guy. He's anybody who would fall for her. Honeypot, it was just a joke. Anybody could see that.
And so that explains his stupid
Anything he
ex-post.
says, he's a Beto O'Rourke of the House.
He didn't just talk to Fang Fang. He bang Fang Fang.
Yes.
Like he was sleeping with her. And you can imagine, it's just like when you see these James O'Keefe undercover pieces, when they think that they're on a date with somebody that's into them. These people are still human beings. And if they feel like they've got some sort of connection, or if a guy feels like he's going to get laid, he starts loosening his tie and he starts talking about stuff that he's not allowed to talk about because they're trying to impress said person. In Eric Swalwell's case, he's trying to impress Fang Fang because he's on the Intelligence Committee. He's on the House Intelligence Committee. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know about this and I know about that. And Fang Fang knows this. It's her whole purpose of being a Chinese spy in the first place. Oh, yeah, we were in a committee hearing yesterday and, you know, they told us that this and this and this, and we're going to do this to China, and we got that. And he fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. He says he's the Beto O'Rourke of the House of Representatives. But that is true. Back to the Pam Bondi thing that the FBI, Trump has the FBI putting together the Swalwell files to see if there was illegal activity committed on behalf of Eric Swalwell with the Fang Fang deal. And that's, honestly, I hope that drags out because I want Eric Swalwell to stay in the California governor's race because the crowded field of Democrats in California is ultimately going to be the demise of Democrats occupying the governor's mansion in California. Even the liberal media is sounding the alarm for Democrats and how they're at risk of a historic upset in that governor's race. Politico, who is biased, but a publication that people in Washington, D.C. read religiously, especially Democrats. They love Politico. They've been around for years, and they have eyes and ears everywhere in the world of American politics. So is it possible that the people of California are finally ready for real change? We hope so. What you have here is and I don't know, I may be wrong about this number, but I think there's somewhere between 4 and 6 Democrats running for governor in California, and you've got 2 Republicans. Well, right now, the 2 Republicans are polling higher than the Democrats. And unlike in Alabama or in most states where you have a primary where Republicans vote for their candidate and Democrats vote for their candidate, in California, it's just whoever the top 2 are, regardless of party. Those are the 2 that go to the general election. And if the 2 Republicans end up with the highest vote margins because the Democrat vote is spread out between 4 to 6 people, when Californians go to vote for governor, they're going to see on their ballot 2 Republicans, which means no matter what happens, a Republican would be governor of California. So, Eric Swalwell, please stay in the governor's race.